welcome to Dining with Dan and Becky at Glen Ferris. And tonight, as my guest, is Marty Yearhart. He is a current House of Delegate member from Mercer County, and he is also running for congressman for the 3rd District. And we're pleased to have him here tonight, and hopefully Becky will plan us a good meal and all that kind of stuff. Well, Marty, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am from Bluefield, West Virginia. Have spent the majority of my life there in Bluefield. Been very fortunate to have a varied career, most of which has been in the sign manufacturing industry. Started as a sales rep with a company called Atkins Signs, a national sign manufacturer. Left that company as vice president of sales and marketing. I've had my own small sign company for the last 10 years. Very pleased to be a father and a grandfather with one more on the way.
Great.
So life has been good to me. I've enjoyed my time in the West Virginia legislature. I think I've have learned a lot there. I believe I've contributed a pretty good bit, and without any question, I think I can contribute in Washington and bring some solid conservative values from the 3rd Congressional District to represent us in D.C.
Great. Well, I've known you for probably at least 15 years, maybe 20 years, and you've done signs for us, and you've been a great professional, and I know that you'll be a great congressman as well. So let's go in the kitchen and see what Becky has made up for us this evening, and we'll come back in here and get something to eat. Okay?
The smells are great.
Okay.
And welcome back to Dining with Dan and Becky. We certainly appreciate your sharing your time with us. Our menu tonight for Dan's guest and Dan will be a Waldorf salad, stuffed pepper cups, potato Romanoff, zucchini casserole, and eclair cake. Now, none of these take too much time to actually prepare once you get it ready to cook. Your stuffed pepper cups has to bake about an hour. Your Waldorf salad has to chill. Your potato Romanoff has got to parboil, then you've got to put it together, then you have to bake it. Your zucchini casserole, the same thing. Eclair cake doesn't take much time at all to prepare, but it needs to refrigerate and your pudding needs to set up. So why don't we go ahead and start on the eclair cake and just get it out of the way so that we'll know we'll have the one that really takes the most time to get it ready to serve. We've already got it done and there's no worries. Okay, if you'll give me a minute, I'll pull out everything we need for the eclair cake. I'll be right back. And welcome back. Let's go ahead and get started on the eclair cake. For it, you need a box of honey graham crackers, 2 small boxes of instant vanilla pudding, 2 cups of milk, a 12-ounce container of Cool Whip. And then for the topping, you need a cup of sugar, a 1/4 cup of evaporated milk, 1 stick of butter, 1/3 cup of cocoa, and a teaspoon of vanilla. It's not too complicated. It's just that there's 3 layers involved, or 3 types of layers, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers when you go to put it together. So let's go ahead and get our pudding started. Now, none of this is going to be cooked, so you need to take precautions when you're making it. Make sure your hands are washed very, very well, and if you want to make extra sure that everything is okay, then glove up. If not, you're probably just fine. All right, we have 2 packages of instant pudding. And we're going to add 2 cups of milk. I use 2%. All right, now we need to mix this up fairly well, and I'm going to use a whisk. There's no reason to pull out a mixer for something this small, and it doesn't need very many strokes, so to speak, to mix it up. All you want to do is make sure, 1, there are no lumps, and then 2, of course, you want it to thicken. And since most instant pudding boxes call for 2 cups on itself. This one I had 2 boxes, 2 cups of milk each would be 4 cups. So we have cut the milk in half by 50% so that by the time you add your Cool Whip, you will have still a dessert that was set up partially. You don't want it to be runny. Okay, let me get the Cool Whip out. I'll be right back. All right, if you look at this carefully, you'll see how thick your pudding is. It doesn't really need to set up more or be whipped more at this point. All we want to do now is to add our Cool Whip. So, these containers are 8 ounces each. So what I want to do is to add 1 whole container and then half or 4 ounces of another one. And you can even add less if you want or more if you want. But the recipe does call for 8 ounces. I got this from a little lady in the southern part of the state. She sent me a cola cake recipe, the deep dish peach cobbler that we enjoy so much, and the eclair cake recipe. She's a good friend to have. She understands why people need recipes. Now, when you're at this point, you do not want to whip it, not even whisk it. All you want to do is gently fold it in. So let's do that. And of course I made this with light Cool Whip to cut the calories. You can even make it with the sugar-free Jell-O pudding to cut calories, and you can use skim milk. And you will have a very low-cal, very nice dessert. I've done it before. All right, now here we are. Your Cool Whip and your pudding is evenly distributed, so we're ready to go ahead and start making the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of our dessert. So let me get this out of the way.
Morris Greenhouses in Oak Hill not only are 90% of our plants grown from seeds, but 100% are locally grown in our great state of West Virginia, which means fresh and healthier plants for you. We have over 100 varieties of vegetable and herb plants, including over 70 heirlooms. We have large assortments of beautiful, healthy flowers, including over 50 varieties of perennials. Stop by today and pick out the perfect gift for Mom, located behind Rite Aid in Oak Hill. Morris Greenhouses. Come shop with Mom and Pop.
Okay, now these are our graham crackers. I put them in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag and broke them up. Now I didn't crush them, I just broke them up. Now what you want to do is add a nice layer at the bottom of each of your little dishes. Now you're going to have 3 layers of graham crackers and 2 layers of pudding, and 1 layer of deep chocolate when we are through. Well, I need to break that some more. Okay, so now we have finished our first layer of graham crackers. So, here we go. All right, we're going to put a layer of pudding on the graham crackers. And we're going to spread it out a little bit. I should have used an ice cream scoop. It's not as messy. But what is. All right, now that's our first 2 layers. Now I need another layer of graham crackers. I think that's what Danny loves about this dessert, the graham crackers being mixed in with the pudding. A few more. Now I traditionally make this into a 9x13 pan or a nice casserole dish, one of the Pyrex cookwares, but I wanted to do this one individually tonight because it just takes less time to do it and to serve it, and I wasn't for sure if it'd have enough time to set up. Oh, that's altogether too much. And then finally, our last layer of graham crackers, and I'm going to try to keep these fairly well flat because we're putting chocolate topping on it. Let me see if I need to add any more anywhere. Here's a little one can go. I should have crushed them for the top. Oh well, live and learn. All right, now we have finished the first 5 layers. Let's get these out of the way and let's start our frosting. Now, over the years, I have made a lot of cocoa-based products, fudge, frosting, bisque glaze, you name it, and I have done it. But I finally figured out how to do this. For the main part, I always blamed it on the air temperature and the air pressure and the humidity. It doesn't matter how careful you are, how good you are. Every now and then, your fudge or frosting or your topping, such as this is, crystallizes. And there's nothing you can do about it. But now, I, over the years, have found out what to do. If you heat your margarine first, And I have had this out for an hour, so it's not as hard as it would be, and it's not margarine, it's butter. And then instead of adding your sugar, then your cocoa, then your milk and vanilla, if you add your cocoa next, for some reason, I have never had it crystallize on me. So let's get this to melt. Then we're going to add our cocoa. Then after that is stirred up, and it leaves so few lumps that it's just unbelievable. All right, cocoa. And this is 100% cocoa. Now look at this. You see no lumps, you see no little pieces of cocoa flitting around. You may see the solution on the sides, but it isn't going to stick and it isn't going to crystallize. What do you think of that? All right, now that I have this, it is time to add the rest of the ingredients. So, we are going to add our evaporated milk, our sugar, and our vanilla. Now, all this has to do is heat to boiling and boil for 2 minutes, and you have a very nice glaze for the top of your eclair cake. All right. All right, now one thing about it, you want to keep stirring this continually until it starts simmering. And then once it starts boiling, then you don't have to worry about it any longer. I figured out this method because one day I was rushed at the inn. We were doing an eclair cake, and I just skimmed over the recipe, added it to it, and I added the cocoa out of order. And it just worked out fine, and it's never crystallized on me since. Knock on wood. I think this would probably make a good cocoa fudge recipe. I don't know. Okay, our chocolate topping is ready. It has been boiling for 1.5 minutes, still boiling. Doesn't that look just absolutely marvelous? Now, what you want to do with this, you just take it and put it all over your top. This is a simple dessert to make except for the chocolate topping. And if you know a few little tricks, it's not bad. Whoops. Go along the outside of your dessert dish first, and then fill in the inside, just like you do meringue on a pie. And there we are. Okay, 1 eclair cake, individual. For our stuffed green peppers, you need to have prepped 5 to 6 medium green peppers, 1.5 pounds of ground beef, 1 medium onion chopped, 1/2 cup of celery thinly sliced, 1.5 cups of cooked rice, a teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Now that's for the meat combination itself. Now for the sauce, you want 1 medium onion chopped, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, 1 garlic clove minced, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now since we're going to put some of the sauce in our meat mixture as well as on top, let's go ahead and get started on it. So, here we are. Now the first thing we're going to do is make a roux. We will use 2 tablespoons of butter, and 2 tablespoons of flour when we get to it. But what we are going to do first is to add our onions and partially cook those, and our garlic. Then we will add our flour, then our tomatoes, and then our lemon juice. So let's get those in here. All right, 1 medium onion, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, your tomatoes, your garlic, and lemon juice. Let me get these over here so I will be ready to have them. Okay, our onions are cooking fine. Now remember, this is the sauce that goes on top, and I put a little bit inside also. We're going to let these cook a minute, then we're going to add our flour to make our roux. So here we go. Flour, garlic, all right, now we're going to add our lemon juice. And then our number 2 cans of tomatoes. Now these are diced tomatoes instead of whole tomatoes. You could use either one you want. If you're using tomato sauce, you need to cut back on it some. So now we're going to let this simmer just a little bit while we get ready to make the meat portion of our stuffed pepper cup, and then we will be ready to go. All right, I'm going to let that simmer. All right, we have our 1.5 pounds of hamburger. Okay. And we're going to add to that our chopped onion. Well, how about we're going to add to it over here our chopped onion, our celery, our salt and pepper, and our rice. Now this has not been all the way cooked. It's only been cooked about halfway. Now you need to be aware that, first of all, you do not fill your pepper cups as full when you're doing this, because your rice is going to swell and it'll finish filling it up for you. And you probably do need to parboil at least that rice, or to cook it for 3 or 4 minutes in the microwave, because rice dishes, I just haven't had much luck with making rice dishes. I always use rice that's already cooked, such as in the broccoli casserole, or I cook it to go in it, or I use instant rice, or whatever. All right, now here we are. All right, let's get some of these vegetables worked in a little bit better. I forgot the number one rule for working with ground beef, or any ground meat. I didn't put it in the microwave to heat it up for a few seconds. I generally put it in there for about 45 seconds, and it's much easier to work with. Okay, so we've got that done. All right, now I'm going to add about half of that to our mixture. Turn it down low. One more little scoopful. I'm going to take that off the heat. All right, now I'm going to mix that in. And even though I have very seldom seen it in a recipe, you probably would want to add an egg to it just to make sure that it holds together. I wouldn't make a meatloaf or meatballs without eggs. Okay, there we are. So, let me get this together now. All right, when you're working with your green peppers, you have 2 decisions to make right off the bat. Now, I parboiled mine this morning and let them cool a little bit and then put them in the refrigerator. Now, what you have to decide on, if you're going to parboil them or if you're going to leave them raw. If you leave them raw, your dish is going to be a little bit more crisp than what it would be if you parboiled them. The next thing you have to decide, are you going to cut them in half lengthwise, or are you just going to cut the top off? Now, when you cut the top off, you get a very pretty presentation. That is very true. But unfortunately, for some of us, when we do that and we go to stuff them, it's just difficult to get the membranes out before you put the stuffing in. So what I like to do is cut them lengthwise. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oh, that one is really wilted a little bit. I'd say I parboiled it too long. You only need to parboil them about 3 to 5 minutes. Now, what we're going to do is fill it with the meat mixture. Then we're going to put the sauce on top. Then we are going to cover it with foil and put it in the oven and bake it off for at least 45 minutes, and it's probably closer to an hour. So let's find us a good spoon. Now, what you want is to get a handful of this, pack it in. Now remember, do not fill your cup full because that rice is going to expand. Let me get this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. And you want to get all the little creaks and crannies and crevices in this. Let me lift that. And this is going to take me a little bit of time. If you guys want to take a little bit of a break while I'm doing this, feel free to do so. Okay, let's turn it around. That one needs just a little bit more. And there we are. I think I can get this one a little bit fuller. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is just put our sauce on top, and then we're going to put it in the oven. So here we go. Needs a little bit more. Okay, there we are. How about my cleaning up my mess, get this in the oven, and then when we come back, we'll start the potatoes Romanoff. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're ready to start our potatoes Romanoff, which is an unusual dish, but it really has great flavor. You need 5 cups of diced potatoes that are cooked, 2 teaspoons of salt divided, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 2 cups of cottage cheese that you creamed, and the way I did it, I put it in a deep bowl and I used my submersible blender on it. 1 cup of sour cream, 1/2 cup of green onions minced, 1 clove garlic crushed, 2/3 cup of shredded cheese, and paprika. So let's go ahead and get started on this. I put the potatoes on earlier to cook. So let me get them drained and we will get started on our Romanoff sauce. First thing you want to do, you have your bowl of cooked potato cubes. You want to put 1 teaspoon of salt, sprinkle it all over it, and then we're going to lightly toss it. Now be very careful with this. You do not want your cubes to break up. Cook them about to the degree of doneness you would about 2 minutes before potatoes are done for potato salads, okay? All right, now, we're going to combine everything but the cheese and the paprika and mix it together, and then we are going to toss it in the potatoes. So you will have your creamed cottage cheese. Look at that. Didn't that come out nicely? And Dan likes large curd cheese, so I didn't know if I would be able to get this creamy or not. And mix with it your half cup of sour cream, unless it's a cup. Oh, it's a whole cup, sorry. Okay. Then you're going to mix another teaspoon of salt. That wasn't quite a teaspoon. Your half a teaspoon of pepper, your green onions, and your garlic. Okay, so there we are. Now make sure if everything is uniform, evenly distributed in your sauce, which are your sour creams and your cheeses, then when you toss this with your potatoes, it will also be well distributed throughout. Now again, the one thing you do not want to do is to break up those potato cubes. So, all right, we're going to toss it. Okay. Boy, doesn't that look like a creamy potato mixture for potato salad, minus the eggs and the pickles, of course. All right, now I have already sprayed my casserole dish, so I am going to empty this in the dish and hope I don't spill it. We're going to cover it with foil and put it in the oven and let it bake 25 minutes. And then at that time, we're going to pull it out and put the cheese and the paprika on it. Okay. Boy, doesn't that look nice. All right, let me get some foil. And this is also ready to go in the oven. And I will set my timer for 20 minutes. And we'll pull it out, put the cheese, put it back in for the last 5. Okay, so here we go.
Morris Greenhouses in Oak Hill not only are 90% of our plants grown from seeds, but 100% are locally grown in our great state of West Virginia, which means fresh and healthier plants for you. We have over 100 varieties of vegetable and herb plants, including over 70 heirlooms. We have large assortments of beautiful, healthy flowers, including over 50 varieties of perennials. Stop by today and pick out the perfect gift for Mom, located behind Rite Aid in Oak Hill. Morris Greenhouses. Come shop with Mom and Pop.
Well, welcome back. Let's get the zucchini casserole finished. You will need 6 cups of sliced zucchini, and this zucchini is the one that Dan grew last summer and I froze. 1 cup of grated carrots, 1/2 cup of diced onions, a 1/2 cup of sour cream, 4 ounces of cream cheese, 1 small can of mushrooms drained, a cup of heavy cream, a half a teaspoon of chicken base, and then herb stuffing mix for your bottom layer and your topping mixed with melted butter. So let's go ahead and get this started. All right, the first thing you want to do is to heat your heavy cream in your saucepan. Okay, so there it is. Now your zucchini, carrots, and onions had to be parboiled for 5 minutes because the cooking time is so little on this. It's only 20 minutes. So I have that ready to go. So we have our heavy cream, and to that I am going to add my chicken base and mix it up. Then we will add our sour cream. Now this is the 3rd or 4th time that we have tried this. We have changed the recipe every time to try to get it exactly the way we want, so I'm crossing my fingers that this is it. Now before I add the cream cheese to it, I am going to add the mushrooms, and I am going to cut that cream cheese into small chunks because it needs to melt. Okay. And we are almost through with this. Isn't that sweet? Now, the last time that we did this, we did it with just a cup of sour cream and the heavy cream. And we'd already played around with it a couple times, and we weren't happy with it. So we decided to take part of the sour cream out and substitute equal quantities of cream cheese because the heavy cream needed to be just a little bit thicker. So as soon as that melts, we will be ready to add the zucchini, carrots, and onion mixture. So while we're waiting for that to heat up, let's go ahead and fix our topping and our bottom layer. Now what you're going to do, we took a half cup of butter, which is 1 stick, and we're going to slowly drizzle it in this and mix it until it's as uniform as it can be. This does not have to be seasoned because the stuffing mix is a herb seasoning. So it's already seasoned with salt and pepper and oregano and basil and all that good stuff. Sage, probably. So now once I have it worked in, the butter worked in, all I have to do is start layering my casserole dish. We're going to do a layer of the dressing mix, then your zucchini mixture, then a layer of the dressing mix. And then we will be ready to put it in the oven, and 20 minutes from now we will have dinner ready. That is good to know. All right, the cream cheese still has not melted, but it's getting there. So let's get me gloved up. Now we're only going to put half of this in the bottom of that casserole dish. Now that's the casserole dish I use for my broccoli casserole. This is the first time I have ever used it for anything other than broccoli casserole because I'm so afraid of breaking it. So what we're going to do is just take our mixture and put it on the bottom. Okay, there we are. Now the rest of this is going to go on the top. Okay. And this is ready to go. So I have to find the zucchini. We're going to add it. And you're going to very carefully toss it till the heavy cream solution mixture covers everything rather uniformly. So here we are. Whoops. Now all you have in here are carrots, onions, mushrooms, heavy cream, sour cream, and cream cheese. Had to think a minute. Now you want to spread this evenly. So let's get some of that over here and some over there. So the last thing we have to do is the topping. So here we are. I have been looking for a recipe for a squash casserole with ground beef and dressing in it, and I found it while I was looking for, I don't even know what I was looking for this weekend. I just sometimes just sit down and look to look. Okay, here we are. Now, how cool is that? That is just absolutely delicious. So, let me get the foil on it. We're going to put it in the oven, and then we will be set to go. So, I am going to go in and visit Dan and his guests in the dining room, and I will see you shortly thereafter.
Well, Becky, what have you cooked up for us tonight?
Well, I did a Waldorf salad.
Okay.
Have you ever had a Waldorf salad?
I have. My mother used to make it. I'm looking forward to
Oh,
it.
really? How nice. Now, mine's been adapted a little bit to suit my fancy and my little quirks, but it's still a decent salad.
Okay.
And then we're doing stuffed pepper cups.
Okay. Is that like in a cup or?
Yeah, well, I cut the peppers in half and made a cup.
Oh, stuffed peppers.
Stuffed peppers,
Okay.
right.
All right.
And then we're doing potatoes Romanoff.
Okay. Romanoff.
Romanoff.
Okay, so is that German or Italian or what is that?
Well, I would say Russian.
Okay, Russian. Okay, Romanov. All right. All right. So what is in that?
Well, potatoes that you diced and you almost finished cooking.
Okay.
And then you drain them and you put salt on them, and then you have this sauce you make out of a sour cream and cream cottage cheese and garlic and salt and pepper and so forth and etc.
Okay.
And then you mix them all together and bake it. And then when it's almost done, you put shredded cheese on it and paprika.
Okay.
I hope you like cottage cheese.
I am certain
Cottage cheese?
the way everything smells in that kitchen, I'm sure it's wonderful.
Okay.
All right. What else
And
we
then we're
got?
doing zucchini casserole,
Zucchini casserole. Okay.
and then an eclair cake.
And an eclair cake. Okay. I haven't had one of those for a while.
It's been a
Have
long
you ever had
time.
an eclair cake?
I have not, but I have a sweet tooth.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, all
I've got
right.
a lot of leftovers too, Marty.
Well, Becky, the smells are making us really hungry, and we've been waiting a while, and so we're
Well,
ready for it.
Let me get started on that salad.
Okay. All right. Tell us about this salad and how you made it and what's in it and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the base of it is mayonnaise and heavy whipping cream.
Okay.
And most people just mix the heavy whipping cream in, but I use a whisk and whip mine a little bit to make it thick, because I do not like picking up salad and juice running out of it.
Well,
you know, I mean,
well,
I just don't care for it.
Okay.
Then it has a pinch of salt and some sugar and a little bit of lemon juice, and then it has walnuts, red grapes, green apples, and thin celery slices.
Okay, well, we're going to dig in here and start eating on it and
Is
try
that
to
how
figure
your
out.
mama fixed hers, Marty?
I don't know how she made it. I just know it was good.
All right, let's try it here.
Very good.
Well, thank you.
Has a lot of different flavors in there, the grape and the apple and all that.
Mhm. Now, the traditional method doesn't call for grapes, but at the bottom of the recipe that I use, it said you could substitute dates and raisins or add them to it, so I decided, well, if I can add raisins, I can add grapes.
Right. Well, there's celery in there too, looks like.
There is.
And the pecans are very good too.
Walnuts.
Oh. I like a light salad like this. I don't want to, eat so much lettuce and stuff that I don't have enough room for the rest of my meal.
Oh, I do. I want to eat so much I have room for nothing. I love a good salad with a good dressing.
I didn't realize that they were walnuts, but they are. I thought they were pecans there for a second. Well, Becky, what have you cooked up for us here?
Okay, stuffed pepper cup,
Okay.
zucchini casserole, potatoes Romanoff.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you what you got in all of these because I'm too hungry. I want to get started
Well,
on it, okay?
okay.
And we'll talk about it after we get a
All
few
right.
mouthfuls. I'm going to start here and work my way around. How's that?
Well, that's exactly what I do.
Okay, all right.
Only I go the other direction.
All right, well,
Does that mean we're
now, I'm not
opposites?
too hot, it's not too hot for me to burn my mouth, is it?
It shouldn't be.
Okay. We'll let Marty try it first so that if he's burnt his mouth, I know whether I should be doing this or
That's
not.
real brave of you, Dan.
I just can't get it in there fast enough. Those potatoes are outstanding. They're really
With
good.
the cottage cheese.
Oh, yes. Well, and I don't mind cottage cheese, but you don't really notice it as cottage cheese. It's
Well,
nice
I-
blending in.
I creamed it and mixed it with sour cream and green onions and all sorts of stuff. I
Okay.
went up in your garden and got green onions.
Oh,
out
you
today.
did? Okay. I got green onions from last year.
Oh, is
They're
that
still-
right?
They're still,
How about
they're
that?
coming up because it's 70 degrees today. And we'll try this,
Okay, next time I make it, I'm gonna do less rice. Has good flavor.
I think it's real tasty.
I might be severely allergic to cottage cheese.
Oh, really?
When I was a wee little girl, Marty, I mean a wee little girl, my grandma Phillips lived up on Muddy Creek Mountain, and I couldn't have been any more than 4 or 5. And we all went up there for Sunday dinner, and she always met us in the parking lot and gave us this hugs and says, "Oh, my precious, my precious." And she was just she was a woman full of love. Anyway, I went to her house, and she had a big bowl of white vanilla ice cream, or so I thought. And I said, "Ice cream." So I got me a bowl and a spoon and took a big bite, and it was cottage cheese.
You might find this interesting, and I'll send you the recipe. I have a friend, and she makes stuffed potato soup. And it really, really has a nice flavor
I've never heard of that.
done in a soup.
I've never heard of that.
Now, I do baked potato soup and regular potato soup and oyster stew, but I've never heard of
Stuffed pepper soup, and it really is good. Her name is Tony, and she's a marvelous cook, and she told me about it, and I thought, well, that doesn't sound so good. It just sounds like watery stuffed peppers,
Right.
but it is really, really good, and the pepper flavor just comes out really nicely in the soup.
Well, that's great. I'd love to have that.
These are wonderful, by the way.
The pepper cups?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Dan, did you taste the zucchini?
Yes, I did, but I'm still working on the stuffed peppers, and it's very similar to my mother's. So you're getting better. You're getting closer.
Now, your mother had this little metal pan that she fit inside a pan the same size, and she put all of her peppers in it, and she cooked them in steam.
Mhm.
Well, I don't have any of those. And you
My
can't
goodness,
buy
you've got a
those.
whole kitchen full of stuff in
Well,
there.
I know, but I do not have the little metal steamer.
Okay, all right.
So
Sounds to me like a good husband would find that for you.
it seems to me
That's
like
why
when
I'm
he
afraid
goes,
that's what's going to happen.
it seems to me like when he goes to Tucker County, he'd stop at one of their flea markets or their country store and look for one.
I'll do that next time I
Right,
go
but
get
I have to
it.
have the pan it goes with.
Okay,
Because the chances of my having a pan that would hold it up to where nothing but the steam would hit it is really slim. Can you tell what I did different to the zucchini casserole?
no, not really. Hold on. I'm still working on the
Pepper cups?
stuffed peppers.
I'm so glad you like them because you've got about 10.
Okay. I'm going to be eating them for a
Zucchini
week.
is good too. It's sort of creamy. Is that what you did different than normal? It's a little creamier than what I'm used to, and it's really good.
Well, Marty, while you have your mouth full, tell us more about Bluefield and what's going on down in that area.
Well, Bluefield is a great town. Like a lot of towns in West Virginia, we were built around the coal industry. We don't mine any coal in Bluefield, but it sort of moves through there.
Right.
And so the railroad was a big part of building Bluefield and all of the industry around the coal mines. Been some difficulty in those areas since that point in time. And some of the mine repair and equipment repair and manufacturing places are gone, and the railroad's pulled back a little bit, but we survive and do well. I love Bluefield. We have great traditions there. It was really nice this year in the House of Delegates. We got to honor the state championship football team. This was Bluefield High School's 100th year playing football, and they won their 10th state championship this year.
Well, that's great.
That is great.
Well, the Bluefield area is so pretty down there. It's a very nice community. And the college down there, Bluefield State College, which I've done several projects down there over the years. And of course, I built the Transit Authority building there as
Yes,
well. And
okay.
they have a lot of activity down there in the Bluefield area.
We do, and I'm very fortunate. I live on the sort of the side of East River Mountain, which is really beautiful, and lots of great pictures from there. And Mercer County in and of itself, Princeton's a great community, a lot going on there. The interstate has been good to them on the commerce side. A lot of hotels and fueling places and restaurants have popped up along exit 9 on the interstate. The ATV trails have been really good to us. Down in Bramwell, people come from all over the country to ride four-wheelers on the trails. So we're very fortunate, and I think we have great things happening in Mercer County. And we're looking forward to even more good things happening. It's one of the reasons that I run for federal office is to give all of us an opportunity, not just in Bluefield, but across the district, to have additional tax reform and simplification. So people have more money in their pocket, there's more disposable income, and entrepreneurs are able to go out and, much
Build a
like
business,
yourself, do
right.
great things. They can figure out things they do well, and can get after it, and it benefits them and their families and everyone around them when they're successful.
Becky, what have you got here for us now?
This is an individual eclair cake.
An individual eclair cake, okay?
Right.
But it's in a glass. It's like a gobbler, is that the way you say it? Goblet? Okay,
It's like a miniature trifle,
okay.
but it's an eclair cake.
It's in eclair
I
cake.
did
Same,
one-
same ingredients, just like you're
Yeah.
making a large cake, but you put it in a,
Right, because when
Goblet.
you cut the large one, sometimes the pudding doesn't set up because I
Right, 'cause
cut
you're-
it as soon as I make it.
Okay.
And then you have a mess for
so
the rest
you just
of
made
it.
these and put them in the refrigerator
I
to
did.
cool them off and ready to go?
I made these very first.
Okay, well, we're gonna dive in here and see how it goes and
All right.
see how it
Can't wait to
tastes.
get started.
Questions?
It's a little harder than what I thought. It's really gotten cold.
Yeah, it's been in the refrigerator a few hours.
Lord, that is heaven.
So it has graham cracker in it and pudding and
Cool.
chocolate that you made by hand. You had to go to Africa to get the chocolate
South
beans and,
America.
oh, South America, okay.
Yeah, I had to go to South America. I had a busy day, but while I was in Brazil, I just took a left and went over to Chile. Well, I guess I took a south and a left,
Yeah.
and I got their cocoa beans.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, that's good. That's really good. Well, Becky, this is really good. It's fantastic, and I love the eclair cake. It's very good.
I know you do. I know it's one of your favorites.
Well, I really like it. This is a little different than having it in a big
It
cake
is.
sheet, but it's very good. And you've done another great job. You did a really good job on this meal that you made, Marty and I,
Thank you,
and he's enjoyed it. He ate every bit of the other. He cleaned
He's
the plate
a
up.
determined man.
Yes, he is. He really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm telling you, if this is the way that you all eat every week, I am just open to an invitation anytime. Thank you so
Well,
much.
you're welcome so much.
Yeah. Thanks for watching Dan and Becky at Glen Ferris, and thanks for Marty coming out and having a good dinner with us. And we'll see you next week.
Bye. See you next time.